live storm tracker Doppler radar sponsored by Homeland Bank. And now, exclusive storm tracker Doppler weather with meteorologist Chase Ward.
Starting off all clear and kind of quiet out there. Winds have stayed relatively calm, and it's been that way during the overnight hours, and it's going to be that way this morning. If you got any outdoor plans, probably best to go ahead and do it this morning, because by this afternoon it's going to be kind of like how it was yesterday. Going to be very hot and humid with heat index values that will continue to climb. But we're not tracking any rainfall, not really anything across a good chunk of the area or across the south. Looking at Doppler radar at 5:14 this morning. Here's a live look in downtown El Dorado, where temperatures have been holding out in the upper 60s. Some places are still in the lower 70s. Especially here in Ouachita Parish. Right now the current temperature in El Dorado is 68 degrees. Dew point right at 67. Winds still remain relatively calm. We're at 70 degrees though up in Camden, 72 Monticello, also 72 Monroe, 67 just over in Ruston. And dew points, yeah, they haven't really gone anywhere. And we had a lot of evaporation here at the surface from all the rain we got earlier in the week, and now it's just kind of just sitting in place across a good chunk of the ArkLaMiss, so still expected to be very muggy for this afternoon. Here's a look at the satellite radar. You can see there's high pressure up to the north, which is what's going to keep our weather pattern for the next couple of days relatively quiet. If we do have any winds, they'll be about maybe 5 as high as maybe 10 miles per hour, and they could shift a little bit out of the northeast due to the location of the surface high pressure. So if you got any outdoor plans today, here's your dog walk forecast. Like I said, this morning is going to be the most comfortable because we will be in the 70s, hitting into the lower 80s. We'll hit the mid 80s at least by lunchtime, and then for this afternoon, notice how we start hitting those lower 90s, getting a little bit hotter and staying hot and humid from 4 to 5 o'clock, and we'll be hitting mid 90s for some spots as far as daytime highs are concerned. And sadly, because of the dew points in that upper 60 range, we will be hitting the upper 90 and probably around briefly into the triple digits, around 101, 102, potentially in a couple spots, but very briefly. So it's going to be kind of just shy of actual heat advisory criteria, but continue to practice heat safety nonetheless. Make sure you're staying hydrated and taking frequent breaks from work or exercise. Now, as we go into the weekend, don't expect much change neither, because matter of fact, we're actually going to stay in the mid 90s from Saturday going into Sunday, and of course that heat index still going to be climbing upper 90s and hitting those brief triple digits. So as we move forward, high pressure starts to move off to the east. We'll kind of start to see winds shift a little bit more so out of the south. So what does that do? We start to return a warm, moist air back into the area, which we kind of still have it in place because it didn't really go anywhere. Now we have a new system that will form across Central Plains, which will be our next rainmaker going into next week. Now the good news with that, we could actually see a very brief cool down by at least next Monday and Tuesday with a return of more rain chances. So really by Sunday night, we'll kind of start to see a brief shower or two, maybe a thunderstorm popping up across parts of Arkansas, but the upper level feature will move across our area going later on into at least Monday, which could still linger as we go into next Tuesday, but that will be what we need to help give us a little bit cool down with a little bit more northerly flow, and we'll drop back down to the mid 80s. But for today, we'll see a high of 93 degrees for this afternoon, staying warm and muggy. Then tonight we'll fall to the upper 60s, gonna be clear and quiet still, and then tomorrow we'll be in the mid 90s for our daytime highs. So really just getting even warmer for tomorrow and through much of this weekend. So just make sure you're staying hydrated and taking breaks from work or exercise. Wear plenty of sunscreen, protect yourself from the sun. By next Monday and Tuesday, that's when that front will move on through, and notice how we fall to the mid 80s, but that little cool down is going to be very brief, because by late next week on Friday, we could potentially be back to the lower 90s as lows continue in the mid to upper 60s.